Networking and marketing made simple is for you, the business owner who has a product, a service, or a message that you believe in. My name is Scott Aaron, and each week we'll take a behind-the-scenes look into the real-world marketing and networking tactics and strategies for getting what you have in front of you to a lot more people. Thanks for spending time with me, and now let's get started. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another podcast episode. You're in for a treat because we have another dual episode with myself and
Nancy. And it's video.
At some point, maybe people aren't going to know it's a surprise because, it's whenever I'm saying that, it's always Nancy, but we still like doing this. And we're actually, you are also in for a treat because over the next few weeks, every Monday, Nancy and I are going to be doing these dual episodes for the next month or so, just because there's been a lot on our hearts. And in all honesty, Chris and Lori Harder, who Nancy and I were both a part of their masterminds, both expert foundations. What was it called? Fast Foundations. And they're a high level mastermind, which I was a part of. We just love hearing their dual episodes. Just, it's another husband and wife team that are doing great things. And Nancy and I always have a great time when we riff on certain topics. So we have a really, really fun topic to talk about today, which are the three biggest struggles that a lot of professionals have when they're starting or are trying to build their business and their brand online. But before we get into that, as you are listening to this, we're officially 2 weeks away from the beginning of our first of only two. That's right. One of only two LinkedIn workshops that we're doing this year. It is one of our foundational workshops. It's called the Amateur to Expert 5-Day LinkedIn Workshop. So we teach you how to go from an amateur or a novice on the platform of LinkedIn to an expert by the end. We've had people booking sales calls, even closing sales in the 5 days that they spend with us. So we're going to leave a link in the description of this episode for you to register. It's from April 24th to April 29th. Yes, there's a 6th day added on. That Saturday, the 29th, from 11 to 12 p.m. EDT, we're doing a bonus Q&A session, but also an information session on how to use ChatGPT to help you create some of your content on LinkedIn. Monday through Thursday of that week, 8 to 9 p.m. EDT, and Friday is our happy hour session. It's from 5 to 6 p.m. EDT. All sessions are live and recorded, and the replays will be available for you to watch back until the following Sunday, which is May 7th. So even if you can't make it live, you can binge on the replay. So again, it's the Amateur to Expert 5-Day LinkedIn Workshop, and that link to sign up will be in the description of this episode. So on to today's topic, which we mentioned are the three biggest struggles or problems that professionals have when they are building their brands and businesses online. And to be honest with you, we could have written 30 things down, but we wanted to kind of make this into kind of a bite-sized episode where we broke things down from a very simplistic and foundational level. So we wrote down three things. And the first thing that we feel from things that we experienced in our journeys growing our company the way that we have, but also people that we've networked with and been in masterminds with, is clarity is a really big pain point for people. Now, the word clarity means a lot, but in the context of what we're speaking on, it's getting clear on your business, and that might be your offerings, maybe getting clear on your client avatar, your ideal client customer. So when you're not clear on what you're offering, what you should be charging, and all of those things, it can really hold you back. So Nance, why do you feel, and why is it so important for people to be really, really clear on the things that they want to do when they're growing their business and brand online?
Yeah, I mean, this one comes up so often, whether you've been in business for a short period of time or whether you've been in business for quite a while, clarity usually comes up because sometimes people get nervous, well, how do I put myself out there, on social media? What kind of goals should I have in my business? Should I create a business plan? What about creating a marketing plan? So a lot of confusion, is happening. A lot of lack of confidence, happens whenever people are stepping into a space where maybe they're not completely familiar. And so, there's a lot of things that we can really talk about right under that clarity bucket. That's why it's such a big, we're touching on the macro level of things. But when we really dig in, there's so many things that you need to be clear on within your business, as you're moving forward and kind of getting yourself out there. So that's why it's super important, again, that you work on, making sure that you are clear on certain things so that you're able to be more confident. And then you can obviously talk about what it is that you do and be comfortable and show up for your audience, and then obviously generate some sales, hopefully, right? So, a couple things that I noted here specifically is, obviously want to give you guys some takeaways is it's really, really important that you have clarity around, right, your niche, like Scott mentioned, your avatar, right, the specific people that you're marketing to, and your offer. Right. Those three things are so key. And actually, in our mastermind program, that's where we always start, right? With every group that we go through and we, kind of work through in our master classes, we focus on those three things first, because no matter if, like I said, again, you've been in business for a really long time or you're just getting started, being confident with those three things sets you up for so much more success, right? When you know who you're marketing to, when you know who you're writing your message for, when you know who you're creating your content for, and you're able to really know your offer and own it and, share that with people and give them that value, it can really, again, like I said, create so much more confidence, which confidence equals more sales, right? When we're able to get out there and have that energy and really, obviously offer people value. The other thing that I'll just throw in there, and this has been trending lately, is I've seen a lot of professionals who get started online and they haven't created a marketing plan. Okay. What I mean by that is just actually looking at each month, in each quarter, and actually mapping out specifically what services or products they're going to be focusing on and what their marketing focuses are going to be. So, we go through that in our mastermind program, but it's something that any one of you can do. If you're listening to this, I say grab 12 sheets of computer paper. You can even just grab 12 sheets. And if we're just kicking it very basic, you can write the months at the top of each of those pieces of paper and write out, right? What are the services and the things that you're going to focus on? What are your monthly marketing goals? If it's growing your email list and growing your podcast list, if it's closing a certain amount of sales, you can kind of start there and then really, jot down what product focus or what service are you going to really focus on talking about with your audience.
So the second thing that we wanted to talk about that we really feel people struggle with, that they need help with, and I think this, whether you're in the premature stages where you're getting ready to launch something, whether you're new to business or you're seasoned, this is a very, very common area of struggle, and that's visibility. Now, that's visibility online. So are you acquiring new leads? Are you acquiring new clients? Are people seeing what you're doing? And you hear people giving all this advice about how you can get increased visibility. And in my opinion, and I want to hear, Nance, I want to hear your take on this, there's different phases to visibility. So, if we were to break this down into three phases, and then Nance, I want to turn it to you. I would say the initial phase of visibility is your warm market. Those are the people that have kind of known you, liked you, and trust you from an arm's length perspective. From the get-go, no matter what you have or you are doing. The second phase, I would say, is through collaboration and JV partnerships, so joint ventures, whether you're doing, guesting on podcasts, or you're doing a guest training in someone's private Facebook group, or maybe they have a mastermind, even maybe you're doing an online workshop. So you're basically getting visibility through collaboration and other type of ventures. Phase 3 is paid visibility, which are YouTube ads, Instagram and Facebook ads, Google ads, which Nancy and I are, and she knows this is a very uncomfortable thing for me. We're moving into phase 3, which is paid marketing and paid advertising. And it's I cringe because it's that fear of the things that you hear from other people, the horror stories that they've spent tens and thousands of dollars on ads and it hasn't returned anything. But on the flip side of that, we've heard a lot of success stories where their warm market is still producing something for their business and it's gotten them pretty far. And they put the pedal to the metal with some paid advertising where people can learn more about them. And it's taken them and their business to the next level. So when we talk about visibility, I really want to kind of focus on phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 3, that's years down the road. So Nance, what do you really feel with the examples that I provided with those different phases? Again, phase 1 being that warm market, phase 2 being that joint venture or collaboration aspect. Where do you feel people kind of fall short, or why do you feel people struggle so much with visibility?
Yeah, I mean, well, again, I think it kind of goes back to confidence a little bit, right? Some people being very new to getting on social media and really not knowing what to do. I think a lot of people just want, and I even mentioned to this to you today, right? Like, I wish somebody would just be so clear, like, here's the 10 things you need to do every day to build, X amount of people and so on and so forth, right? A lot of people are very vague and broad about it. But I think it is, a few things. If we're talking about building our warm, audience or even people within our circle, and we're really moving into obviously getting yourself out there on social media and other places, I think it just starts with one, getting yourself out there, right? Like actually posting content that's relevant for your audience. I think it's showing up on lives. I know a lot of people will say, nobody even, no, people still do. And people feel very connected, right? I still, when I see someone jumping on live and I'm able to watch and kind of, it just feels that much more personal, right? We want to put ourselves out there. We want to build that trust with your audience. We want them to, really get value out of what it is that you're offering. And here's the thing, if we keep things very simple, you're solving problems for people, right? That's it. And if you're out there really authentically and coming from a very good place, solving people's problems and really putting value out there, you're going to have people who obviously are going to watch your stuff and go, wow, okay. And the people who resonate and who are really going to be a good fit for you, as long as you're putting yourself out there, appropriately and you're clear and, you're marketing to the right audience, it's really going to be what I call like the snowball effect, right? It might happen very slowly for you and you might pick up a few viewers here and there, or it might happen a little bit quicker because, just even getting yourself out there. And I want to give you actually 3 activities that you guys can do, just to kind of like get started. And one is, just start posting consistently, right? Start creating some content, could even be 3, posts a week, but start somewhere, right? That's number 1. Number 2 is take a look, at what you've got going on and create a workshop. Right. That's a second thing that I will say, because, if I were to go back in time and start everything from scratch, and if someone asked me, well, how would you, make money right away? How would you jump online and start over again? And, I probably honestly would, start doing some workshops. I would start getting out there, providing value, right? Giving people a lot of value, building that trust. And then obviously seeing what resonates most and kind of going from there. So I would say number 1, again, just get yourself out there, start posting some consistent content. Again, it could be something educational, right? 3 tips, how to, whatever, right? Again, answering problems or questions that your peeps have. 2, do a workshop. If there's a post or something that resonates a lot with people or a topic, let's say your audience is like, oh, I really love that, and they like it and they engage and there's lots of comments. Maybe do a workshop on it. Maybe there's something that you can really give them a little more value and they can walk away and feel really, really great. And again, you can grow your audience that way. I even tell people you might not have something in particular to launch, or sell people to. It could be as simple as just, hey, listen to my podcast, or hey, jump on a call with me. It could be something that simple. And then the third thing is to kind of help increase visibility, is I would make sure that you really look around who you're connected to. And like Scott mentioned, there's joint venture partnerships and different things, but you are more than able, most likely, right? Because in your years of doing whatever it is you've been doing, you probably know a lot of people, but you want to get in front of other people's audiences. Okay. And a lot of people are like, well, how do I even find those opportunities? Like, how do I even, where do I go? Um, Connect with people in your space. Hey, what programs have you been a part of? What trainings have you completed? You can reach out to different associations, even local, places that you can dip your toes in and get started. I've definitely benefited from even doing things. I did a presentation for the National Association for Women Business Owners. Scott has done lots of trainings in other people's groups over the years, and you would be surprised. I mean, we have people who come back a year, 2, 3 years later. Oh my gosh, I saw you back, so and so. And that's when they first became connected to us. But, can be really impactful. But those three things, just getting yourself going, getting out there, and showing up for your peeps can be really impactful.
The other thing I want to add to that is that what people need to understand is that getting consistent visibility takes time. I think there's a lot of people out there, they're you know, getting a lot of success, they're achieving a lot of things in their business, and they almost make it seem like it's really easy to get visibility. And it, I'm not saying we're not saying it's difficult to get visible online, but it does take time and it does take consistency. And there's going to be an evolution in how to get visibility and have the right people seeing what you're doing. It's not, always going to be easy. There are going to be challenging things. And Nancy and I are always transparent because we're always going back to the drawing board and thinking about, what did we do this time that really worked in this workshop that got us the registrations that it did? What was it? Our email open rate? Was it the fact? And people still don't think we do war market stuff. We do. I mean, I will tell you, Nancy will tell you, I reach out to 5 people like when we are leading up to a workshop, and I know there's people that could benefit from a certain workshop that we're doing. I will personally reach out to 5 people every day and say, hey, not sure if you knew, Nancy and I are doing a workshop on X, Y, and Z. Would you be interested in learning more about it? Like, we still do a lot of those foundational things to get that visibility, because the fact is there's a lot of noise out there, everyone. There's a ton of noise. There's a lot of people posting stuff. There's a different workshop that you could attend literally every single day. Think about how many emails you get every single day. And the fact that, someone may be opening ours, I'm very grateful for that, because of all the emails they can open up, they're opening ours. So we just want you to understand that visibility doesn't have to be a struggle, but it is going to be something that you're going to have to consistently work through and try different things, obviously, to get more of it.
Yeah. And what I was going to say too is, a lot of these things, and especially when you're starting out and maybe you haven't validated or optimized things yet, you're not ready to run, the paid ads and that kind of thing. It's so incredibly important to understand how important every single person is as you're building your, your community, as you're building your audience, as you're building your contact lists. Every single person counts. I worked with a coach years ago, and I can tell you that she built her network with such a close knit group of women that literally she had like 40 diehard fans that bought everything she had, every single launch she had. It was like no matter what program she put out there, she closed like $40,000 in sales, and I just say that just to kind of give you that perspective that yes, we want to keep going and we want to get thousands of email contacts, and we want to, Donald Miller says hit 7,500 in your niche. That's a really good goal. And sometimes that could take people, right? 3 years. If you're doing it primarily or mostly organically, it's going to take more money or more time, right? But here's the thing, every single person counts. And I think, and actually, I definitely want to do a podcast episode with you, Scott, on, I think maybe we'll do it this month. But I want to do a podcast episode, just really bringing things back to the basics when it comes to connecting with people, and, how removed a lot of these coaches and people have got, or have, turned into, over the years. And I just think it's so incredibly important to have that personal touch, to still show up for your people, to still give that value, and to still count every single person as really, I mean, someone of value. So I just think that's so incredibly important to be said when it comes to visibility.
Absolutely. And the third and final thing that we we know, like hands down, people struggle with. And what I would say is that For those that didn't know this, Nancy and I, we have our own high-level group coaching mastermind called the Expert Authority, which we're actually opening up later this month. We only do it a couple times a year, 10 people. It's very intimate. And we call it a mastermind because we do allow people to network with each other. Everybody shares, what they have going on and what they're working on, but it's a hybrid coaching program where you get that one-on-one attention from myself and Nancy, because we do quarterly goal strategy sessions with each person. Yes, every single person meets with Nancy and myself every single quarter to go over their goals, put together a plan of action. So that brings us to the third and final pain point, which is accountability. Accountability is huge. And what I can say is that I feel blessed and lucky because Nancy is my lifetime accountability partner and vice versa. So we definitely have each other to hold ourselves accountable. And what we found, and we're going to do another podcast episode on this topic about some of the masterminds that we've been a part of and what we loved and what we didn't like and our honest opinion on that. But one of the biggest things from the experiences that we have had, and we've been in about 4 different masterminds, the biggest thing that we wanted, that I would say inspired us to create Expert Authority, was the accountability portion. And there's nothing better than having accountability. And where we feel a lot of professionals and entrepreneurs fall is when they don't have that accountability. They're not having someone not steering the ship for them, but giving them the GPS coordinates of what they need to do to go down a certain path. And that's what accountability is. So Nance, how important obviously is accountability, but why do you feel so many professionals struggle in this area of building their business?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, and I know we're talking about professionals in general, so maybe it's not just people who are entrepreneurs, but I feel like a lot of people struggle with this, especially if they're their own boss, right? Because we might have been used to in the past, right, having someone else really regulate our days and tell us what we needed to get done. And, you've got all these meetings and different things that you have in place, right, that keeps you on track. And when it's up to you and it's you figuring out how you need to spend your time each day, it's you who decides, okay, if you take an hour-long lunch, or, if you decide to cut off work at, 4 o'clock, or, you really get to decide what that looks like. And I think for a lot of people, right, I say this all the time, and Scott's probably sick and tired of hearing me say it, but, humans are creative beings, right? We are just naturally creative. As entrepreneurs and obviously professionals that work, for ourselves, we're super creative, right? We're hyper creative. And so a lot of times that means that we also have squirrel brain sometimes, and we have a lack of focus, and we're not able to really stay down that straight and narrow path to really get us to where we need to go. And so sometimes we need a little, right, structure, and we need a little bit of accountability, right? Sometimes from other people, or, accountability as far as deadlines or goals or things like that. So, Scott and I talk about it all the time. We talk about you need to get in the valley of focus, when you start out. Yes, you might want to be a multi-passionate entrepreneur, like Marie Forleo says. You might want to start, a ton of different businesses, but if you can't get yourself honed in and focused and hold yourself accountable, right, to number one, being the best version of yourself, right? Because this is going to test you, right? Whenever you're in charge of your schedule and yourself, ooh, baby, right? It's really, really tough sometimes. It's creating deadlines for yourself. It's making sure that you put things in place, and actually really getting things done in those time periods. And just like Scott said, we go back to all the different masterminds and the programs that we were a part of. And that's exactly right. We're so grateful for every single experience, even the bad ones, because it helped us really be super intentional about creating our mastermind program, because it's everything that we wish we had. In fact, the 3 things that we're discussing today are the foundations of our entire program. It's helping people get clear and confident. It's helping people have that accountability. We do the quarterly statuses. And we have a goal sheet, literally tracks your progress, breaks things down into super tangible goals so you know exactly what you're working on. And then the visibility piece, how do we actually show up online? What are we supposed to be doing each and every day by creating a marketing strategy and a marketing plan? So it's those three things that are so incredibly important. But that accountability piece, man, whew, I can't tell you, how important that is. And it's a struggle I hear all the time.
Yeah, it's one of those things where uh, my obviously my younger days, I was a personal trainer. So I was used to holding people accountable. I was used to helping people achieve their goals. And again, the big thing is making sure that you acknowledge these bottlenecks, you acknowledge these things that you're struggling with, like we talked about today, with clarity, visibility, and accountability. And when you can acknowledge those areas of struggle and you do something about it, you're going to see a change in your business. So as a reminder, as we wrap up today's session, and this Zoom that we're doing in this podcast episode, if you would like to register for our one of two LinkedIn workshops, it's called the Amateur to Expert 5-Day LinkedIn Workshop. It's from April 24th to the 29th. We're going to leave a link in the description of this episode. But also, if we did pique your interest at all about learning about our high-level group coaching mastermind called Expert Authority, the doors are not open right now, but we can leave a link in the description of this episode, or you can actually just go to thetimetogrowcom/expert authority, all one word. And you can actually book a call with myself and Nancy to talk about the program. We can kind of give you the lay of the land and if it would be a good fit for you to join. So everyone, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Love and gratitude to all of you, and we'll talk to you next time. Thank you so much again for checking out today's episode. And if you are listening through iTunes, Spotify, wherever you are, please leave me a rating and review. Let me know what you loved, what you would like to see improved, or ideas you have for future episodes. And if you are interested in taking your business to the next level, don't hesitate to go to my website, www.scottaaron.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me, where I can learn more about you, your business, what you're struggling with, and how we can work together. And don't forget to check out my wife, Nancy, and mine, our free community on Facebook called LinkedIn Leads for Life. We would love to see you in there. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you everyone for your support. Grateful for each and every one of you.